I'm Coach Courtney. I have been coaching for 6 years now, and I'm so excited that you're here. If Alex or Alexis, someone can watch the chat for me, that would be fantastic.
If you maneuver on your screen, there should be a little bar that pops up and there should be chat inside and you can pull it up just in case
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
see it.
I see it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry. I'm just used to having two screens when I do everything. And so everything just feels really small and I don't want to miss anything.
It's okay. I can look out too if you miss something. All good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
um, okay, so you are in the right place if you have struggled with not knowing what to eat, feeling lost when it comes to meal prepping. And I know that a lot of times when we talk about a meal plan or meal prepping, it can seem very overwhelming, especially if you've never done it before. So if you are hesitant, please stick around. I promise that it's going to be very, very smooth, and I hope that by the end of this, you're going to have a different perspective about having a meal plan, and about meal prepping as well. Um, if you are really worried about eating the same thing, if you have a meal plan and you're, one of those people that are like, I can't eat the same thing all the time. I totally get it. I'm there. I've been there. If you feel like it's just so much easier to opt for convenience, so going through someplace or grabbing something that's already prepared, or if you're struggling just to meet your protein goals too. So, all of those things I'm going to talk about today. So, in the next 60 minutes, 45 minutes, we're going to talk about why having a simple meal plan makes fat loss and muscle growth so much easier. How repeating the same meals during the week can remove decision fatigue if that's something that you struggle with. How meal plans or changing up the meals without changing the actual food in your meal plan happens. So that's something that is really important for me. Yes, it is. It's so real. And then how rotating foods can keep you more consistent long term. So moving things around and then also swapping out foods as well. So my story, I have always been kind of, I've always carried a lot of body fat with me. And I decided that I wanted to do a bodybuilding show. I love lifting and I decided to do it. Actually, I don't know if Greta is still on or not, but I always call her out because she is actually the person who inspired me. I was listening to her podcast, or I was listening to John's podcast that Greta was on, and she was talking about how she was dating someone, they broke up, and she's like, I'm going to do it anyway, because they had talked about it. And that was really resonated with me because it was very similar to my own experience. And so it's really cool, like just to be able to see her and be like, you inspired me to do a bodybuilding show. But so here is my transformation. This is when I started my very first week. Coaches need coaches too. I'm going to talk about that. And then that was actually the day after my show. So one thing I always recommend if you're not doing it is progress pictures. I have never, ever, ever had a client say, I am so mad that I took those progress pictures at the beginning. It's always the opposite. It's always, oh, I wish I would have listened to you and taken those progress pictures when I first started, because maybe you don't take them until a month or 2 months in, and you really wish you would have had, those pictures before. Because here's the thing, right? It's just data. It's just where you are. So I always, please take the progress pictures. You don't have to share them. You can just keep them. But I promise you that when you get to your goal, you're going to be really, really happy that you have them. So let's talk about why a meal plan. If you can, drop in the chat what comes to your mind when you hear meal prepping for a meal plan. So just in general, what comes to your mind when you think about meal prepping or you think about a meal plan? Wasted food because I don't want to eat it. Okay. Yep. That definitely happens. A lot of work. Yep. Being prepared, time consuming. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that too much time, and I think that that is a myth that a lot of people feel, that it's just going to take this, like my whole day on Sunday, and it's going to, take my whole entire kitchen. That's one reason why a meal plan can be so helpful. Indecisive as to what to, yes, yep, afraid of being bored, absolutely. So, one thing that a meal plan will do is that it reduces stress. So, when you think about like, what am I going to make for dinner tonight? I don't know how I'm going to meet my protein goals. I don't know if I'm getting everything that I need. A meal plan is where it can bring that. A lot of you talk too about, having to track. If you're on a meal plan, you don't really have to track every day because you're eating the same thing. And one big thing that I will talk about tonight is how can you keep the ingredients but change up your meals. So if you have a set, one thing that I kind of one perspective that I have with a meal plan is, if you can think about a meal plan being like the ingredients list, right? So your meal plan, it doesn't, yes, you're going to have meal one, meal two, meal three, meal four. But if you can really take all of those individual components out, because that's what it is, right? Your whole entire meal plan is just all of these things coming together to get you those macros that you need, that are going to be best for your body. And if you can think about those being ingredients, and then every single day you're creating a new recipe, right? So if you are like, if you've ever made lasagna, you're going to eat it for 8 days, 9 days, however many days. For chili's the same way, right? So sometimes you're going to repeat the same recipe, but other times you can change it up. And I think that's something that is really helpful for me to kind of, John talked about shifting your mindset a little bit. And so if you can think of, instead of, it's so restrictive where I have to eat the same entire meal every single day. If you think about the ingredients, so your meal plan is the ingredients every single day. That's your recipe. And you have variety that you can do with that. Some people are like, that's too much work. I need the decisions to be filtered even more, and I need to eat the same thing every day. That's okay too. But you also want to have that flexibility that you can change if you need to. Um, yes, yep, absolutely. Change spices. Meal plans also will save you money. So, wasted food was one of the first comments that came up with meal plans, and meal prepping. If you only have a certain amount of, food, then you're not going to overbuy. And I know that you talked a little bit, the comment was wasted food because you don't feel like eating it. We're going to talk about how you can not waste food because you're not eating the same thing. I mean, you are eating the same thing, but not really. Build routines, habits, awareness. And sorry, I talk with my hands a lot, so thanks for sticking with me. So you're going to have more awareness of your body too. And John talked a little bit about that when he was answering questions, right? About being able to be like, oh, I'm bloating. Why am I bloating? If you have, if you stick with a smaller amount of foods, then you can kind of gauge like, oh yeah, okay, that's where, I'm feeling bloating after I eat that, or I feel kind of uncomfortable when I eat this, but I feel really good whenever I eat, I feel bad when I eat Brussels sprouts maybe, but I feel really good when I eat cucumbers. And then it really does it can improve your digestive system because you're getting the same foods all the time. And so instead of that variance where you don't really know what's causing it, you're able to pinpoint that. And that really can help when you're trying to figure out your gut health. And also, it gives you time back. I know that's not something that typically you think about when we talk about meal prepping, because most of you said that. However, really, if you can just do ingredients, which we'll talk about, it cuts down significantly. So if you think about how much time you spend every single day making your meals, if you meal prep, so you're kind of shifting, right? So you're taking that individual time per day and then maybe doing it one day. And it doesn't have to be on a Sunday. I mean, I randomly will do like meal prep on Wednesdays. And I also change it up a little bit too. So some days for instance, my noodles, I have to cook every 4 days because I can only do 4 servings at a time. Where my rice or my protein, I can do in, bigger batches. And so it really can save you time. One thing I wanted to just toss out there as well is I am a Sagittarius and I am neurodivergent. So, for if that makes sense to anybody out there, I need freedom and I need variety. So, I am one of those people who, like, I used to think, like, I cannot have a meal plan. Like, I can't have a meal plan because it's too restrictive. But I figured out a way to make it work for me. So we're going to talk about two different ways that you can meal prep. So individual meals is typically what people think about when I talk about like having a meal plan and meal prepping. That's where, you kind of make all of your meals together. So you have, if you have rice, veggies, and protein, you have it all in a container. You can grab it. It's easy. Little to no variety though, because typically you're going to have all of your spices and everything like that together, and then you're going to put them in containers. It's really difficult to separate your ingredients. So, sometimes especially because I have like noodles and rice in my meal plan right now. And there are some days where I get so busy at work that I don't have the time to make, I don't have the time to take 10 to 15 minutes to make my noodles during the day. But at night, I'm like, oh, I can make my noodles. So maybe I need to swap my rice and my noodles for that day. And that's where I like the flexibility of prepping ingredients. I use only bean, edamame, or soy. Both of them are really, really good. Yes, awesome. So what I do is I prep ingredients instead of prepping individual meals. So with that, you actually prep each ingredient separately. So prep your rice, prep your protein, prep your veggies, prep your noodles. This does require a little bit of time for each meal you want to make. So, but less than 5 minutes. I promise you it's less than 5 minutes because all you're doing is weighing the ingredients. There's a lot more variety as well. So you have a lot of options where, I used to meal prep and make individual meals, and, say I wanted like taco bowls. I would have 4 or 5 taco bowls, and I would have to eat tacos 4 or 5 times a week, which comes into that I have had wasted food because, again, ADHD, I'm like, yep, it's good until it's not good anymore. And you know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, you get the ick and you're like, it's done. I cannot do that. But it really does offer you more variety when you can just prep your ingredients. And it's also really easy to convert to individual meals. So I travel a lot. And one thing that I love about prepping the ingredients is when I do need to travel, it's easy to prep them because all you have to do is get a container and then put it together. And so you have that ability to still make your individual meals, but you're not locked into one taste or one one flavor, which I think is really important. So let's talk a little bit about how I prep ingredients because it can be different, which is also why my whiteboard is so important. So what I do, one thing is you always want to start with dry, uncooked ingredients. So, if you are making rice, you want to weigh the rice dry. And the reason is because there is a lot of difference between, even if you use the same exact rice, and even if you use, like for me, I don't always measure water because sometimes my rice will burn, and I feel like that's the equivalent of spilled milk. Is, like when you have rice and you're like, no, I can't eat it, and I know that those are grams of rice. But if you always want to start with dry. So when you are getting your rice out, you're going to say, okay, how many days am I prepping for? So like I said, when I make my noodles, I have 1 serving per day. So I know that that's going to be 4 servings. When I make my rice, it just kind of depends. I have pets, and they actually get rice and vegan dog food. And so I make a lot of rice. So typically I'll do like 10 servings of rice. And whenever I do that, then it's nice too, because not only am I eating it, but my pets can eat it too. And for those of you who are meal prepping for families, it's really important too, because that way you don't have those individual meals where you have everything locked in and nobody can have anything because it's exactly what you need. It's really easy when you prep ingredients because you know what you're going to take out for you, and then anybody else can take out whatever they need, right? Because then you know exactly how much you need. So you're going to cook it, and then you're going to weigh it. So you're going to weigh it before you start, then you're going to cook it, and then you're going to weigh it again. Then you have to do math, not my strong suit, I'll admit. But then you're going to write it down. And the reason that I have the whiteboard is because, again, it changes. So for instance, when I made rice last week, so each serving is 30 grams of rice for me. And when I made it last week, it was 100 grams cooked. So 100 grams cooked. This week, it was 86. I don't know exactly what I did. Obviously, I added a little less water. But that's why it's important to know exactly what you made, which is why you weigh it before and then you weigh it after. Same thing with, I use Say Grace soy protein. It's, in my opinion, the best the best protein source. I love it. I love the texture. People who do not like vegan food love it. I put it in everything. Depending on whether you use the nuggets or the bits or the shreds or the tenders, they all take up a different amount of water. And depending on how I cook it too, sometimes there's different amounts of water in it as well. It's called Say Grace. Alex, could you maybe drop a link to it in there? But so it was, for instance, I get 33 grams of protein, or 33 grams of Say Grace. This week it was 133. Last week it was 150. So that's why I keep this board up here, because then I have it every single week and I know, oh, okay, it's time for me to eat rice. Then I'm going to grab it and I know, okay, this batch of rice is going to be 86 grams when I go to weigh it out. You can also, I don't know if you can see it, but you can also write on the bowl as well. I used to do that all the time. And then, sometimes your finger smudges it off. So I went to a whiteboard because that is much, much better for me. But you can definitely write it on the actual bowl too and stick it in there. But again, this is really helpful because then whenever, I have the little routine of I go to the gym and then I come home and then my cat meows at me because it's time for their food. I can dip out whatever I need to out of this, and I never have to worry about it affecting my personal plan. And that's where it's really easy because, if I feel like a taco bowl, then I'll put I'll put taco seasoning on it. If I feel like a sweet Thai chili sauce, I can put sweet Thai chili sauce on it and I can change it. You can see here, I have 4 different meals that I've made, and it's because I can swap out my tofu for my Say Grace. I can swap out my noodles for my rice and have different varieties. So, I have 4 different meals throughout the week, and that's what's really helpful for me. So neutral seasoning when you cook it, and then you can add flavorings and seasoning and everything like that later. I talk about the dry erase board, and so this is the dry erase board that I use for actually prepping the ingredients. But then I also have another dry erase board, and I'm gonna take you with me. So we'll see how this goes. So I have another board here, and it might seem like a lot, but what I have is I have all of my meals listed out here. And if, again, neurodivergent, I lose track of what I've eaten in the day sometimes. And so for me, it's really helpful to have everything that I'm going to eat throughout the day here. And then what I do is I have a notes section. So in that notes section, I can write okay, so this morning I had my smoothie and my smoothie had spinach in it and it had my protein powder in it, but I didn't eat my banana. And so I'm going to put my banana up here because I know that at some point during the day, I'm going to need to eat my banana, but I didn't eat it this morning. And that might not make a lot of sense to some of you, but for me, I will forget if I've eaten something or not. I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but I do. Okay, so any questions so far? If you have any questions at all, drop them in the chat. Yes, thank you for dropping that link. I agree. I do love my say grace. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. No questions? Cool. Then we're gonna keep going. And just to I have 20 minutes, right? Yes, Alexis, John. Is that right? Am I going?
Sorry, I was on
Yeah,
mute.
sorry.
You
Same.
got like
Okay.
40 minutes, right? 45? Yeah, you got time.
Okay, but I started at 5:15, right?
Oh, wait. No. Oh, your time. Yeah, you started it. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's
Sorry.
6:38 for me. You got like another, if you want it, like another 45 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the next thing I want to talk about is what I feel is the most important for me on a meal plan or meal prepping. And this is moving around ingredients to make it feel like a different meal plan. So, like I talked about, that's another reason that board is so important for me because that is my meal plan. Every day it's going to look a little bit different though. Just like this morning, I decided not to put my banana in my smoothie because I was like, I think I'm going to eat that later. A lot of times on the weekends, because my day is a little bit different than during my week, I like to separate my fruit out from my smoothie because then it's like, I have another snack. During the week, I'm usually busy and can condense those down and have no issue at all. And so I like, again, to think of that meal plan as being that ingredients list. And then each day I have the opportunity to make a new recipe, switch it around. This was really, really invaluable for me during prep, when I was prepping for my bodybuilding show, but it's also just really important for me every single day too. So again, I was definitely the person who said, I never want a meal plan. I don't want to be restricted. I want to be able to have this freedom to eat what I want. And then I realized that I get hit by decision fatigue really, really hard, because there would be lots of times, where I'm like, I don't know what I want to eat. And luckily, I live in a pretty rural area, so I can't just like can't even get DoorDash to my house if I wanted to. But I don't have the option to just like order something. And so I think that it's really important to be able to feel like I'm eating different things. Because again, I get the ick and I cannot do, there was one time I know, again, coaches need coaches too. The bodybuilding vegan is my coach. And I remember there was one time that I finally messaged him and I was like, I cannot do this meal. And he's like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, I don't know, because I wanted to just keep doing it. But you don't want to get to that point where you hate your meal plan or you feel like, like I'm going to throw up if I have to eat this anymore. And that's why it's so important to be able to move those ingredients around to make it feel like a different meal plan. Is a major source of your protein soy. Yes. So I tolerate soy very well. I love soy. Soy milk is my favorite. And so that is something that it's a big part of my diet because I just do really well with it. There are definitely options out there for being able to swap, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. But just like Alexa said, I think that, especially if you're looking for specific specific guidance on your meal plan, that's where filling out that application is going to be so, so important. Because I know for my clients, I can send out general information. But when I talk to them, that's where I can be like, oh, you like this, but you don't like this. Here's a great option for you that I wouldn't recommend to somebody else. And so I really do think that it's important to fill out that link. My favorite soy milk, I actually make my own soy milk. So I have this machine here. It's called Milk, but MYLK. And it takes, it's the only one that I found that takes raw soybeans, unsoaked, and it just puts it in there, and in 20 minutes it makes soy milk. So that's my favorite. But West Soy is probably the other brand. I think it's called West Soy. And yes, organic beans. Yep. Okay, so when we talk about moving ingredients around to feel like a different meal plan, I've kind of given you some options, and I want to talk through those a little bit. So if you look at, oops, not that one. Sorry. So if you look at the one that is on the top left, it would be the smoothie, and then it looks like little cookies. So for this day, what I did was I took my protein powder, I took my spinach, and I took my banana and put them into a smoothie. So this is a typical smoothie for me. That's typically my first meal. So it has protein, it has my carbs, and it has my greens in it. And then I make protein cookies that are additional protein. So it's protein powder, and that's really all the cookies are. It has a little bit of syrup in it. What I've also done, which kind of still works for this picture, is to do spinach and just spinach and my protein powder, and then put bananas in with the protein powder to make the cookies too. So again, there's, two options. Someone had asked for breakfast recipes. That's something that I love to have for breakfast, are smoothies, but then also, like the protein cookies are a really great option too. And you can kind of swap those around. So what that would look like on a different day would be a salad. So instead of using the spinach in my smoothie with my protein powder, I would make a salad and, put some type of, I get a little bit in my meal plan that I have. I get some sugar-free like sauce, basically. Like that's something that I know that I need because I like to switch up things. And so, I might use some of that sauce and put in or put on my salad. So there are some days where, I'm like, it's going to be a long day. Like I was talking about on the weekends, a lot of times I feel like I need more meals to kind of keep myself occupied unless I have plans. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, it's not going to be a problem. I'm not going to be just like hanging out at home, trying to figure out, like what I'm going to do. And so, that is a day that I might make a smoothie with my fruit in it. And then on the upper right-hand corner, that is actually fruit and protein powder. So that's going to be your fruit and your protein powder with a little bit of protein powder on top as well. So if you do not have a Ninja Creamy, I love my Ninja Creamy. I actually love it so much that my Ninja Creamy broke, and I called and had to order one like immediately because there's nothing better than making protein ice cream and sitting in the bathtub for me. I don't know if anybody else loves eating ice cream in the bathtub or not, but if you have a Ninja Creamy, you can just do protein powder, water, and it makes this creamy goodness that's amazing. But you can also add fruit. So in the top upper right hand corner, I added a little bit of banana and a little bit of blueberries to make a protein ice cream. Yes. Yes. So Maya, that was actually one thing that I did during prep. I had a pretty, strict routine, and ice cream in the bathtub was something I did almost every single night of prep. And people are like, you ate ice cream in the bathtub during your bodybuilding prep? And I was like, absolutely. And so, those are some just you can see that day to day, right? That looks a lot different. So a smoothie and cookies look a lot different than a salad and ice cream, but it's the same exact ingredients over, both days. So then if you drop down to the second line, and sorry, I added a bunch of stuff on here just because I'm really excited about this because I love trying to figure out how that works. Banana bread. Yes. That seitan loaf banana recipe. Yes, it's in John's cookbook if you don't have it. And yes, protein ice cream, so good. So on the second line, what I do sometimes if I'm, feeling extra is I will make a salad. So I'll take my spinach from my, first meal of the day. I'll save it until lunchtime. And then I'll take my Say Grace, my protein, and make like a bigger salad. So I'll add some veggies. I think on this one, I have some cabbage underneath it too. And so, sometimes I'm like, I just feel like a salad today, especially when the weather starts to get warmer. I like salads more. And so, I'll switch up things to make just like a big salad. And then you can't really tell by that second picture. I understand it's not great at aesthetically pleasing pictures, but I promise all my stuff tastes good. These are actually baked apples. So what I do is I just grab an apple, cut it in half, core it out, put it in the air fryer. Don't add anything on it. 22 minutes at 375 or 365. And they come out and they're soft and they're so sweet. And all I do is I make a protein crumble. So I take veg, a little bit of water, mix it up. And I will say that I've tried different protein powders. Some of them get a little gummy and make more of like a clump, but veg is very, very good about making like a crumble. So I put a little bit of water in it, kind of make this crumble. And then I take my apples, put that crumble on top, put a little bit of sugar-free maple syrup on it. And then those are, again, right? So it's my fruit that I have, my protein powder, my Say Grace, and my spinach. So that is what a day may look like. The next picture is a little bit different too. So I have my Ninja Creamy, which would be my protein powder. So imagine that I have my spinach, smoothie in the morning, or maybe I have a side salad that day, and I've had, maybe I made cookies that day, and I'm going to make my protein ice cream, and then I have my Say Grace. And what you can't tell really in that Say Grace option is I love to have like sweet and savory. So sweet things are where like they're my favorites. But I also kind of like having flavor, like a really like strong flavor. So in this one, what I actually did was I took Say Grace and I split them up and basically just used two different kind of sauces. So I put cinnamon on part of the Say Grace, and then on the other Say Grace, I put salt and pepper. And then I just kind of like dipped them. So it was like chicken and waffles kind of, and then like sweet Thai chili. And again, that seemed like two different meals in one meal, even though it was the same thing. It was my sugar-free sauce and my Say Grace. So that's where it's so, don't feel like you have to eat this container every single day and that you're going to get so sick of it to the point of where you're wasting food. Think about meal prepping with ingredients instead of meal prepping meals. And I think that will be a big difference, and you'll see a big change, one, in your goals, because you're not going to feel like, oh, I'm going to pick something up really quick, right? Because it's easier. You already have everything and you're like, what do I want tonight? And instead of taking 30 minutes or 45 minutes to make taco bowls, it takes 5 minutes because you have your protein. All you have to do is, cut up your spinach. If you want to throw some veggies in there that maybe you have somewhere else in your plan, put some taco seasoning on it. You have your rice, and you're good to go. And then if you don't feel like tacos the next day, then maybe you put some sugar-free teriyaki sauce on it, and then you put different vegetables, and then you use your noodles, and all of a sudden you have this stir fry, like lo mein, and it feels like a completely different meal. So my recommendation for the best protein powder is veg. I really like it. I like the consistency. I love baking with it. Like I said, it's been about the only protein powder that I can find that just with mixing water, it makes like this crumble that goes on my apples or my ice cream. And you can use sea Yoast if you want to save 15%. And then the very last line on this slide are protein rolls. So if you came to the last summit, John and I had a conversation on it, and I like needed protein rolls to be part of my meal plan. I make protein rolls every single week. I will somehow get you all the recipe for like the base of my protein rolls. They do have gluten in them, just FYI. They are not gluten-free, but they're about 95 calories for about 15 grams of protein. And you can change them up. So the ones on the left actually have fruit on them. The ones on the right are more savory. They were made with everything but the bagel seasoning. And that is another way that I like to really change up my meal plan as well. So I have my sweet ones that I eat sometimes with almond butter on them or sugar-free syrup. Sometimes I'll make a sandwich. So I'll take my Say Grace and take my savory protein rolls and make a sandwich out of them with a little bit of Sweet Baby Ray's sugar-free barbecue sauce, which is the best barbecue sauce in my opinion. And so again, it's all about finding ways to make it not feel like I'm eating the same thing. That is really, really important to me. So I know that was a lot of information for you. But again, this is why, it's really important, because if you have somebody that can kind of guide you, then that's where your coaches can come and be like, okay, well, if you're feeling like, you can't eat this anymore, is there a way to move it around? Or do we need to actually do substitutions? Because sometimes we need to cycle ingredients out. So that may mean that, you have, you're getting the ick. Like I said, sometimes that happens and you're like, I cannot do that specific thing anymore. It's also a really good idea to kind of have in your mind some substitutions that you might need. Grocery shortages happen. Eating out, that's where you can, if you kind of have a meal plan that you follow basically every day, it's really easy to go out because you can really navigate a little bit easier. For me, I love the Big Mountain soy-free tofu. I actually had it. I asked John if we could put it in my meal plan this time. However, I have to drive an hour and 15 minutes to get it. So I cannot get it anywhere locally, which is why I have a whole entire drawer full. I felt like if you've seen his reel where he has it all stacked up, that's what I feel like. But I really, really love it. But I also know that, okay, if I don't have access to that, I can swap out some of my fats and some of my carbs for regular tofu if I have to. And so I think that's where it's really important, to, again, if you don't know what to do, you can lean on your coach and say, hey, I'm not really for sure. I need some help here. And that's where, we all have experience doing this. And if you are unsure about the swaps, especially the deal that you're getting, you have access to a lot of us after that. And so what I wanted to do a little bit was have you do an action item. And one thing, I don't know, if you haven't read the 4 Agreements, I think that it was a life-changing book for me. I know there are several other people on the call too who have read it, and it's had a big impact on them. But in that book, it says, practice makes the master. Action is what makes the difference. So, you might say, well, I don't think I'm ready for a full meal plan, or that's okay. Baby steps, right? If you love Olivia Dean like I do, that's your anthem. But I think that it's really important to figure out where you are, which is, again, why it can be helpful to have somebody leading you through the process. And it doesn't mean that you don't know anything. But it's, even I'm a different person as a client than I am as a coach. And so I think that, it can really be helpful to just start. And so what I am going to challenge all of you to do is to write a list of foods that you really, really enjoy, like something that you're like, I very rarely get sick of this, or I can always be in the mood for this. And then from that list, create a meal plan, create a balanced meal. Or if you are working with a coach, maybe think of some of the things that you're like, I don't have this, but I really, really love. And maybe you've been a little bit too hesitant to, tell your coach, like, I don't love sweet potatoes. If you don't love something, you should love what you're eating every day. Just because you're on a meal plan doesn't mean you can't love the food that you eat. I love the food that I eat every single day. And then I want you to buy those ingredients and prep those ingredients, but prep them as ingredients, not as individual meals. Because I want you to be able to enjoy the extra time that you have. Enjoy, having that decision pressure taken off of you, and enjoy reaching your goals while you do all of those things. Because I think it's really, really important, again, to be able to say, like, yeah, this week for me at least, it's really important for me to be able to be like, I had tacos and cookies and ice cream and, stir fry, but literally it was the same ingredients that I used all week long. And I know that I'm meeting my goals because it's in my ingredient list that I get, right? So my coach gave me an ingredient list, and I have the opportunity to create all of these different recipes on different days. And sometimes Greta actually had a really funny post the other day, and it was like weird food combos that you've eaten to hit your macros. And I had to laugh because some of them I'm like, yeah, I've definitely eaten like just protein and mustard because I just need it to happen. But then, again, you have recipes that you really, really like. Sometimes you have recipes that you're like, it'll do the job. And so I think that, it's really important. Again, you should be loving your food. If you are not loving what you're eating every week, then it's probably not going to be sustainable, unless you're one of, those people that food is fuel. I have not reached that level of enlightenment yet. I still enjoy my food very much, and I can't really get to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm just eating this to eat it and I shouldn't be enjoying it. So what I want you to do is please take an action item and figure out, whether it's, I'm going to talk to my coach about changing a food, or whether it's I'm going to have a meal that I, am going to eat every single week. Drop it in the chat what you're committing to do. So, and maybe it's, I filled out the form and I am going to, meet with a coach about a meal plan. Or maybe it's, I'm going to try a new recipe. I'm going to flip things around. So drop in the chat what you're willing to commit to for this week coming up, in a couple of weeks. But where are you willing to put in some effort to make your meals more enjoyable? So hopefully, drop it in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yes. So buy ingredients and prep, eat something that you can replicate for meals this week. Yes. And make them enjoyable. Awesome. Definitely share with me, Dustin, because I want to know. So the last thing that I put in here is, again, this is just kind of, you can see that I have the same ingredients, and I have 3 different days where those ingredients all kind of came up in a different way. And so you can really see that it doesn't have to be the same. It can, you can change it up. So if I have 3 days of different meals, even on the same meal plan, then I'm not eating the same thing and I'm not getting bored of it because I have different flavors. I love to eat now. Yes. Love that. I love that your relationship with food is changing too. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so I know I am right at time, but the only thing I wanted to do was share some client results. So one thing for me is I believe that my clients are so much more than before and afters. And obviously, I have befores and afters. I share, my before and afters of my clients. But if I have the opportunity like this, I love to talk about like the individual wins of my clients. So that's kind of what I shared here. And it's just, I think it's so sometimes we get caught on like, here is where I am, here is where my goal, but we forget to celebrate those wins along the way, right? So my client with the stars over her face, just because, I don't, even though they gave me permission, I still don't want to share everything. She went from, I don't want to take a selfie in the gym. Like, I don't want to record myself. I don't want to do anything, to her like smiling. Like, she sends me selfies after every single, workout that she does. And I'm like, heck yeah. And it's the confidence shift for me, right? That I just like, am so amazed by. And I love that. And then get my butt to the grocery store and meal prep. Asparagus chased with a protein shake. Yes. Yeah. And that's what it is. I always recommend having frozen, fruits and vegetables. That's another reason why, I like Steak Grace and I like those noodles so much. And rice is because they're all pantry stable. So, I always kind of have extras. Absolutely. And then, I have another client who her wedding anniversary was coming up and she was like, I want to be confident enough to wear a 2-piece on our anniversary trip. And she did it and she looks phenomenal. I had another client who, she said, I have this dress and I hadn't worn it. It had been in the back of my closet and I used to love it. And I put it on today and so that was the white dress. And she was like, I was scared to put it on. And she was like, but I think maybe it's too big for me to wear. And, and so that for me was like, yes, like dig in the back of your closet and get those things out that, you aren't sure if they're going to fit or not. And even if they don't fit right now, okay, you have a goal. And, sometimes we shift and we say, I don't want that goal anymore. But a lot of times, you'll get to that point where you're like, okay, cool. That was a goal. Now I'm moving on to another goal. I had another client who she worked out with me all during both of our pregnancies. She's been with me for years. And she said, I just want to feel strong after, I want to show my girls that you can be strong. And she literally like has her baby in the gym with her. And then I had another client who her son was getting married and she was like, I just want to feel really confident in my mother of the groom dress. So it's like, I really love when clients are like, oh, like I bought this size instead of this size. And one of the best compliments I can have, which I know they're really small now, but in the recording, you'll be able to see them. One of the best compliments that I can get is a client telling me like, this felt effortless. Like I didn't feel like I was giving up everything. I didn't feel like I was, upheavaling my life. And especially, if those of you who maybe have families or maybe, are sharing a home with someone and they may not be on the same exact meal plan as you, right? Because that very rarely happens. That's another reason why meal prepping and having that meal plan, but then meal prepping the ingredients can be so helpful, because then, you can be like, oh yeah, I have rice in there and maybe they want a salad and they want rice and they want some protein in it. Okay. Yeah. Take whatever you need out of there, because that's the thing is in that, in that bowl, it doesn't matter if they take out 86 grams, right? it doesn't matter to you what they take out, because you know exactly the grams of cooked whatever it is that you need. And that's something that when you prep those ingredients, it's just so much easier, because one, they can figure out if they are following a meal plan as well, and they have protein, they can figure out, okay, well, maybe they need maybe they need a total of like 40 grams of protein. And if they need 40 grams of protein, then you just go to the nutritional label, you figure out how many grams that would be dry, which then you have the dry, and then you figure out how many grams that would be cooked. So it's really easy for everyone, to kind of use different ingredients, which I did. I had the opportunity to live with some of my best friends, and I could be like, oh, hey, here's there's already like cooked noodles in there if you want any, and here's how much they are, and then they can figure out exactly how it works for their meal plan. And it just eliminates kind of that, like, if you've ever had those individual meals saying like, no, you can't have any of this because this is exactly what I need. Everything in here is exactly what I need. You can be like, yeah, sure, have some. And so it really does work. It really does work best if you have to kind of share with people too. So, yeah. So, what questions? Do you have any questions? Thank you for being so engaging in the chat. I appreciate that so much. So much. Or come off of mute if you want to. I know I talk a lot, but if you have any questions, come off of mute. No questions.
Whilst we're waiting for questions, let me just.
Oh, I was going to hand it off to John.
That is all good. So John is going live in about 20 minutes, but whilst we are waiting for everyone to drop questions into the chat, I just want to say a massive thank you for Courtney, because I know that I personally learned a lot. Would love to know who else learned a lot. Drop a yes into the chat. There's a couple of things that I'm going to try, which is amazing. And that's the benefit of having an incredible coaching squad team, is that, as Courtney said, you don't just get the benefit of having one coach on your team, you get the benefit of having everyone. So personally, how we work as well is we've got weekly calls just within our coaching team. I know Greta comes, Maya comes, etc., all of the coaches. So whatever we need help with from each other in order to be able to help you, to give you the most holistic support, and by holistic I mean all encompassing support that we can possibly give you, we rely on each other. So I think that is such a flex, because I don't know any other coaching team that does that. And I know a lot of coaches work independently. So the fact that you've got access to not just one person's knowledge, but an entire team. And I think our coaching lifespan in our entire team is over 100 years. So you're getting like over a century's worth of experience from all of us, which is insane. And we're all specialties in separate fields. Okay, I just want to announce a couple of things. Please drop your questions into the chat, and Courtney's going to answer them. And then Courtney, I'll throw it back open to you. So we were reading the chat, and I realized there's a lot of our coaches that use John's cookbook. So I'm going to make a very special announcement for every single person who fills out this application form to find out more about getting one-on-one support, a personalized meal plan, which is so important. Like, every single person, you need to have a meal plan. Like, you're not going to achieve your protein goals, your body goals, even just your health goals, your energy goals, and making sure that you're getting the nutrients that you need for your body type, for your age, for your goals, whether you want to lose fat, build muscle, or both, unless you have a meal plan. Like, that just goes without saying. So you have to have a meal plan. So to get that, we've got meal plans, one-on-one support, and we've also got meal plans in our vegan squad community as well. So we've got loads of different options for you, but a meal plan is so incredibly necessary. And even if you don't have specific body goals, just to ensure that you're getting enough nutrition, because as John said, like, there's a lot of people that have missing factors in their blood work, and we don't want that to happen to you, because we want you to be healthy and live a long, healthy life. And how much would it suck is if you did your blood work at some stage, or you were sick, or something dropped, and it could have been something so easily preventable as like vitamin D, which I messaged John before, and I was like, thank you, I totally forgot about that, thanks for reminding me, because we forget as well, right? So having someone holding you accountable, there to support you and helping you with so is just like that's everything, right? Like that is one thing that we don't have to do as adulting that is perfect because we've got someone who is providing that guidance and expert guidance and support for you. The other thing is because so many of the coaches use John's cookbook and they use John's recipes, we're throwing in an extra special bonus. So for every single person that fills in that application, we're going to send you John's cookbook. Now, John's cookbook isn't for free. It's a cookbook that we sell. So it is, I think it's like worth 30, like, I think he sells it for like $35 or something or more. I can't remember. It's like it's no less than $35. So we're going to give that to you for free just by filling in that application form. So fill that application form and you will get John's cookbook. I know that Courtney uses the recipes from it. I know that I think Maya and a couple of other coaches, I think all of the coaches use recipes from it. So that is a big bonus. Courtney, back over to you.
Thank you. So Bridget had, so how essential is sugar-free in everything? Too much stevia actually gives me a headache and I hate the artificial stuff. You don't have to use it. I know there are a lot of people who, don't like it. It affects them negatively. So you do you. There have been times where I couldn't have it, like during prep and things like that. So it's definitely doable without. I just personally, I tolerate it well. I enjoy it. But you don't have to use it. So it's not like, something essential that you have to have. Absolutely at all. Well, I appreciate you all so very much. If you do end up like getting a whiteboard, please tag me or send it to me, because I want to know that I'm not the only person who has like crazy whiteboard madness happening in their house. But yeah, like I said, if you have any questions or anything like that, fill out the link. It is in the chat. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you.
Courtney, can you drop your handle into the chat?
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. So, Dr. Patrice, if you want to follow Courtney on Instagram, and for everyone here who wants to follow Courtney on Instagram, drop it into the chat. Courtney is also in our Vegan Squad community, and she's one of our Vegan Squad coaches. So you can opt to work with her. And but you have to fill out an application form to do that. So I just want to make that super, super clear.
Yeah,
fill out an application form and we can go through there.
Yeah, and then Bridget, I don't know, like it kind of like now I kind of want to write on my fridge and then see. I'm not going to do it on the call just in case, but I kind of want to see if it'll like come off. But yes, I feel like I need bigger whiteboards now. Yeah. So, okay, thank you.
Amazing. Actually, I'm going to add in Courtney. Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. Can I keep you on for just a second? I'm coming up with so many ideas, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to want to be a part of this. So let me. Can you just have a quick think about what extra special bonus that you can add? Just have a think about that while I pull this up on the screen. Okay. I'm going to throw you on the spot in the nicest way possible. All right. Okay. So, like I said, we have a summit special this weekend only. So if you apply, all you have to do is put in an application form, and then we can tell you more about this and see if you qualify, right? So can everyone see the screen? Can you give me some emojis if you can, or type a yes if you can?
You're good. Okay,
amazing. Awesome. So for this weekend, we have a summit special, right? And this is just for this weekend. If you already, this is for people that who aren't working with us at the moment, and also for people who are already working with us at the moment. So it is over $5,000. It's so crazy. John and I had so much fun coming up with this. It's over $5,000 worth of value that we're adding on top of a one-on-one coaching package with us. So your one-on-one coaching package will consist of a personalized meal plan, a personalized training plan, accountability, one-on-one support, as well as regular communication with your coach. And like I said, you get access to the entire team. So let's say, for example, you are working with Courtney or Miranda or Greta or Alex or myself. Whatever questions or whatever comes up that is that you need extra help on, we will go and tap into all the other coaches in the team and bring on that knowledge into your one-on-one coaching sessions. So you're getting the support from all of us, not just one of us, which is honestly, I think that is so incredibly special and makes us so powerful and unique, because you're just getting so much, not just value, but you're getting so much support from an entire team. And we have 25 people in our team. All right. So here's the extra bonuses that you get. You get a one-on-one business and or mindset, or you can be a combined session with the bodybuilding vegan, our very own not co-founder, founder John Thomas, which is insane because he never does this. He does not do this. So this is like crazy. Then you also get a subconscious healing session with a guided hypnosis from Coach Melissa. Again, this can be customizable. What Melissa is really incredible at is she's got the most like grounding energy. It's really, really empowering. And I swear, like every single time she does anything, I always leave feeling so incredibly relaxed, grounded, and my nervous system has been instantly restored. Type a yes if you've experienced this as well. So this is a really powerful session because it's catered to you about whatever block you want to unblock. And then a customized yoga session or a hormonal healthcare plan. So this isn't just for women. So yes, if you're a woman, like jump on this, especially I know there's a couple of you here, like Bridget, I would definitely jump on this because then you get one-on-one hormonal healthcare support with Ali, but also stress, right? So this is also applicable for men. Your stress levels are so like, if your body is stressed, you will not lose fat and you will not build muscle as effectively and as quickly. You could be doing all the right things. You could be eating right, exercising right, following your meal plan to a T. But if your body is stressed in any way, shape, or form, or your mental state or your emotional state, you're just stressed, period, your body's not going to change. Your body needs to feel safe to change. And you can be working your ass off, but you're not going to drop that body fat because your body's going to hold on to it for survival. This is why the work that this is why the work that Ali and Melissa do is so incredibly vital. And this is why we've included it in this special summit package. All right. Then you also get a brand strategy session with me. We can also put in mindset work into that because I'm also a mindset coach. And this is all about building your personal brand in person and online to start to create the lifestyle or build the lifestyle of your dreams, your dream lifestyle that actually makes you happy, that actually makes you the healthiest version of yourself. My background is, yes, health and fitness coaching, but it's also life coaching and brand building as well. So this is a huge opportunity because, again, I don't do this. I don't work with clients one-on-one at the moment, and I haven't done for a very, very long time. So this opportunity, is going to be crazy. And there's going to be more to come in that space. So stay tuned and stay posted. Type a yes if you're excited to learn more about that. Then we also have lifetime access to the Vegan Squad community, which is it's actually valued more than 2,000. It's lifetime access, it's like crazy. It's like over 10 grand, but I just put 2,000 in here because I thought if I put that, people are going to be like, what? It's an insane amount of value. And like I said, we've got meal plans in there. We've got community support. It's like a club membership to a really supportive, loving family where you can ask vegan questions all day long. And you also get access to live group calls. So you can have this on the regular, not just with us, but with everyone in the community as well. By the way, if you have any questions for Courtney, please drop them into the chat. One thing we are going to add to the Summit Special is you're going to get John, so the Bodybuilding Vegan's cookbook as well. So that's for every single person who fills out an application. And like I said, this is only for this weekend, right? We are doing this as a very special thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up live. Thank you for being part of our tribe and our community and showing us your support and for really just showing up for you. Like, this is the ultimate act of self-love. So we wanted to reward and recognize you for that with the Summit Special, because this is not something that we do for everyone, and it is not going to be for everyone. So for every single person that applies, we can't guarantee that we're going to give you this, because we're going to select it based on the people that we believe are the most qualified, and we believe that we can absolutely help the most. But you've got to be in it to win it, right? So fill in that application form, because we do want to help you. And for everyone who fills out an application form, we're going to send you John's cookbook. Coaches, please type a yes into the chat if you use John's recipes. And I know there's going to be loads of yeses. Yes, yes, yes. Love this. Okay, and then I think the biggest thing of all is you get 3 free additional months to your coaching package. Like, we haven't done this before. This is unheard of. This John and I were brainstorming like how can we make this special so huge? How can we add so much incredible value? So like I said, if you already have a one-on-one coaching package, then I would definitely jump on this as well. Yes, 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 yes. Fantastic. Love this so much. So good. John had introduced all my favorite meals to me. Yes. This is so, so, so good. Also, this is also an opportunity to chat about the community. So if you want to find more about the Vegan Squad community, fill out that application form and we'll have a further chat to you about that in there. Wow, this is so amazing. Okay, John is going live in 8 minutes. 8 minutes and counting. So while John preps for that, I definitely would recommend that you stay tuned for that. Fill out that application form. I'm going to say it like over and over and over again because I'm so passionate about it. Like, we've changed so many lives. John alone has helped transform over 500 people. Together, the squad, I think it's crazy the amount of people we've been able to help transform their lives. I know Courtney shared a couple of her examples. That's just some of them. Like, the body transformations are crazy. And it's not just how you look. Obviously, it's 1,000% about how you feel, which I'm personally a big advocate of. Like, it's all about how do you actually feel on the inside, and how do you show up for yourself and for everybody in your life every day, and how many animals can you save by making your body your business card? Question from Courtney. Courtney, this is over to you.
Yeah, so I wish that I was the world's strongest vegan woman. I do not think I am, except for maybe Bulgarian split squats with dumbbells. But yeah, I just push hard. And I hired a coach. Honestly, like I was actually in tears one day in the gym because I was just like, I never would have got here on my own. Like, there's no way that I would have been like, yeah, like I can do this. I can get to my body weight. I can, surpass my body weight without a coach, without, him being like, I think we have another couple reps. I think we can do that. And I'm like, oh my God, like I never would have done that on my own. And Alexis, so with the Summit Special, I will throw in a session for anybody who gets it. I will throw in a meal planning like session. So I don't know what you want to call that, but basically I will sit down with you with your specific meal plan, and I will give you some different meals, like like a rearrangement, I guess. Basically what I talked about today. So yeah, I will throw that in as part of the Summit Special.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Oh my God, that value has just increased. That's crazy. Thank you so much. That is so good. Who's excited about that? I would probably just sign up for that bonus alone because meal planning is not my forte. And I know that is something huge that a lot of people struggle with, right? It's like, yeah, same. Like, I don't want that hassle. Just deal with it. Thank you. Yes, honestly, like that is such a time and convenience saver. So we really, really appreciate that. And like I said, it's only for this weekend. Like, this is like, I'm not joking. We're not going to do this again. And we like a couple of reasons. One of the reasons why is this is something that we don't do. This is something that all the coaches that are on the Summit Special have kind of gotten together and be like, yeah, I'll do that. And it's something that we definitely do not offer. And this isn't something that we're going to offer again. So, especially with everything else. And I promise you, I will be checking more and more as the talks go on. But you have to show up live for it because otherwise you're not going to hear about it. You're not going to know about it. And if you catch the replay, I can't guarantee that we're going to be doing it for you on the replay. So yes, you'll be hear about it on the replay, but I don't necessarily know if we can guarantee that if you fill out an application that you're going to get the same Summit specials on the replay. But we will still give you something special. Just I don't know if they're going to be that special.